Cool. So welcome to Fresh Relevance, everyone. It's just a very, very quick system overview to begin with, sort of how Fresh Relevance works. So shoppers, we first of all have coming onto your website. There is a script on your website for when we onboarded you as a client. And what that script is doing is it is capturing data for every page that is visited on your website. We also have the option of data imports where we can import data from your CDP, such as for your product, your transaction, and your person data. That then all comes into the system, and we're looking at three main signals here. We're looking at the products that have been browsed, the times that something's been put into a cart, and then when someone's actually gone to make a purchase. From there, using that data, we can do one of three things. We can do personalized emails and websites with smart blocks. We can do triggers, which is what we're going to be covering today. And then also we can do segments where we can look to analyze customers, as well as do some funky price drop, back in stock, and low stock emails. We can also map this all in with something we have called experiences, where we can sort of build in advance a different experience, and then at the press of a button, we can turn it on to a different one, or we can have rules to dictate which experience someone has put on. Any questions? No, all makes sense. Wicked. At any point, feel free to interrupt me for any questions. Happy to answer as and when I can. So first sort of little intro is just how do we trigger an email? Sort of what are the variables that we need? This session is going to be a very, very sort of top level session, sort of a very, very basic introduction to how we use triggered emails. So the first thing that we're going to need is a trigger program, and that is a signal going to your ESP after someone has abandoned a cart, a browse, or completed a purchase. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sending that signal to your ESP from your trigger with the trigger program. We can also use marketing rules to define and personalize the emails that you send. And then the final thing that we need is an email template. So that is a template in your ESP ready to send out. What essentially has in that ESP is an ID associated with that email. And at Fresh Relevance, all we do is tell your ESP to send out said email. Does that all make sense to everyone? Cool. As a little bit of a bonus, we can also use A/B tests or multi-arm bandit to test and optimize your trigger programs. Multi-arm bandit, you would need the advanced testing and optimization module. Feel free to ask me anything about it. I'll cover it a little bit today as well, but it's a really, really cool new feature that we just brought out. So just a very, very quick overview as well of what triggered emails almost look like from your ESP. So first of all, the main email content and subject lines are set up within your ESP, as you can see on the screen. The cart layout code is passed over to your ESP with the abandoned or purchased products and their details. As you can see here, we've got this snow boot. We can also map in variables to your ESP to personalize text, such as the subject line. So as you can see at the top, we've got the name being personalized there. And then finally, we can personalize additional content by adding smart blocks. That would need the email personalization module. As you can see down the bottom, we can put in some recommendations to the emails as well. Any questions at all? Nope.
No, sorry, well, it's a bit noisy in the office, so we're going to be on mute.
That's all good. That's all good.
I'll try to unmute as we go along, though.
That's all right. Cool. So I'm going to hop into the platform now and just sort of have a little bit of a look around for you. So we're in the demo store right now. You'll see everything to do with skis and snowboards. This is something we used to demo to sort of wider groups and audiences. Just to sort of note, all of the data in this demo store is fake data. This is stuff that we just sort of process just for our own kind of use. However, in your own platforms, because it's all real data that's being used, it'll be a lot more effective as well. So a couple of things just to sort of signpost people to. First of all, you've got a question mark up in the top. Feel free to have a click on it. It will basically be dynamic based on what page you're on, and it will show relevant documentation that will help you along your journey. There's also the video icon next to that, and what it has is a load of videos that again will personalize to the page you're on. And then finally, this little microphone up here will direct you to our support team. If you get into any sort of situation where you maybe want a little bit of extra help, feel free to reach out to them. It'll raise a ticket and they'll get back to you as soon as they can. So where we're going to find triggers is just on the lightning bolt here on the left hand side, and then we are into triggers. And just waiting for it to load. It can be a little bit slow sometimes, probably on my side. There we go. So currently we're on the cart abandon. However, we have three main options of signals we can do. Up in the top left, you can see here we got browse abandon, cart abandon, and purchase complete as our three options. And essentially, this bit in purple here is the trigger program we were mentioning. So what we could do is we have a various amount of trigger programs here that have been set up. However, all of these will have been things that other people have set up. If you're brand new to Fresh, if you've got a new account, there wouldn't be any options here. You have to go ahead and create a trigger program yourself. What we can do is we click on create here, and it'll bring up this screen here. And then we've got a few options. So on this account, we've got SMS enabled as well. This is one of our new modules that's available where we can trigger SMS messaging. If that's of interest, have a chat with your account manager and they can sort of take you through all of that and what it can do. The one that we're going to cover here is abandon cart. So we've got send one message, send two message, send three message, or send four. So essentially we've got up to 4 messages that we can send. Is a case of doing multiple stage campaigns. So maybe after a first email someone doesn't buy, maybe you want to send them a second one, maybe 48 hours later. Just to note as well, if someone does go on to make a purchase based on the trigger, we won't send any more follow-up emails after that. So it's sort of future-proofed in that sense. Does anyone have any preference for how many emails we build into this one? Whether you use 1, 2, 3, or 4? No preference. Let's go for a 2-stage then, because sort of nice to be able to see our multi-stage campaigns in action. Now we're greeted with this screen here. So up the top, what we've got is the program name, and essentially what we can do is we can name this whatever we'd like to. It's more for an organization type of purpose. So I'm going to call this WD Demo Fresh Focus. Now, the first email, this is the wait time we want to wait before we send this email out. So this is how long we're going to wait before in Fresh we send that signal to your ESP to tell them to send that email out. Often we will find a 15-minute wait time works best, or we can find a 30-minute wait time works best. This is where the testing and optimizing comes in. So you can maybe build one with a 15-minute wait time, or you can build one with a 30-minute wait time, and we'll see which sort of time frame works best. It can often depend as well on the type of business you are. So the ones that sort of have the products that take a little bit more decision time, maybe it's a case of having a bit of a longer wait time because someone maybe has had a bit of time to sort of think about it. However, if it's a sort of situation where it's quite an impulse purchase, maybe you want to have that down at 15 minutes. Any questions on the wait time? No? Awesome. Next up, we have the action channel. So this will be your email service provider. So essentially on this one, we've got the integrated Autometra as the options in the demo store. Essentially, this will just be whatever your ESP is or whatever your action channel is set to in the system. Have a chat with the support team if you're unsure. They'll be able to sort of direct you to what was set up on your account. And then next up, this is where we have the template ID. So within your ESP, you'll have that email all ready to go and ready to set up, and there'll be a template ID associated to it. For example, that ID could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And essentially all we're doing is we're going to be saying send out email 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from this action channel up here. Does that all make sense? Wicked. Then also if the sorry.
Said just all good.
Cool, lovely. Then we have the cart layout down here. This is essentially the bit of content that gets injected into the email. So this will be set up within the template, and essentially this is going to plug in the product that was abandoned. We can also preview what this cart layout looks like by clicking on the magnifying glass here, and then it gets redirected to this page. And we can see what it will look like for the various abandons. So for example, on a browser, on a cart abandon, this is what we'll see. So this is the last product in the demo store that was abandoned, and that's what the customer will see and have the chance to go ahead and press and complete their order. Then we have the options to add in some extra variables, such as friendly from name. So essentially that's the name on the email address, the friendly to name, and then finally the subject line. We can all personalize that within Fresh Relevance. And now we have sort of familiar things again, which is the second email to go out. Again, we have the subject line, the friendly to name, the from email address, and the friendly from name. And then finally, we have the cart layout, and then down here, all of the same metrics. We have the wait time as well. So this is how long we're going to wait before that email gets sent out again. Sometimes we see people waiting sort of 48 hours to send a second message. Sometimes we see it as low as 24. It sort of really depends on what you're trying to do with your triggered emails. We also have the template ID here again. And this is where we can sort of start to personalize things a bit further. So for example, what we find works well with some customers is on the second stage, maybe you're offering a little 5% discount. It sort of gives that little bit more of an incentive to go ahead and make the purchase on the triggered email. We can also test this up again and see what works best. Finally, down at the bottom, we have the pause option. So if you ever want to stop the trigger program, you can click on this pause button and it will stop the program in its tracks. We also have the catch all option. So if you want to stop it from going out to customers, but you want it to all redirect to an email address, you can put an email address in here and it will start sending it to that email address without going out to customers. And then also we've got the option here to blind copy email addresses in for the trigger program. So essentially what we can do is we can keep it going out to customers, but we may want to keep an eye on it and just see what's going on with the emails going out. And then down the bottom, we have the option to press on save and create the new trigger program. Does that all make sense for everyone? Wicked. So I'm not going to press save just because you've got a lot in here already. But essentially, when that is all made, it will come up onto the left-hand side here as an option to drag into the trigger program field here. So I can drag this out and it will be empty. And essentially what I can do is I can drag in another one. For example, what I could do is put in a one email using the ESP and then maybe test it against a 2 email, for example. So by dragging it on top of the other, we can create an A/B test automatically. A/B tests everyone has access to within their Fresh Relevance platforms, but what can get a little bit more funky is with the advanced testing and optimization module having access to the multi-arm bandit. So essentially what the multi-arm bandit is you put in the parameters you want to test. So for example, here I'm testing 1 email versus 2. And what I can do is select the goal for this optimization, and the system will start to test automatically for me. It will start testing on a 50-50 basis, and then see what is performing better, and then instantly put that the content that's performing better to the top and showing that to more customers, but while also testing the other option just to see if there is any difference or any uplift in it. If there is, it will start to push that one a little bit more as well. It's really, really clever, and we have a various amount of goals that we can do it to. So it could be through conversion, average order value, or site visits are the current optimization goals we have, and hopefully we'll have some more very, very soon. Any questions on any of that? No, pretty simple. Lovely stuff. So what we can also do is we can do things such as adding some personalization as well to our triggered emails. So we got the options of adding marketing rules to our triggered emails. So what we can do is, for example, we can do a person history. We got a lot of different marketing rule options here. It's sort of a case of feel free to have a look through and ask any questions to either the support team or customer success just to find what they actually do. But for example, what we could do is we could do a rule around has carted. And if someone has carted any product with a tag or tag value, for example, something like we got all the brands here, something like Amplify. So they carted Amplify maybe 2 times in the last week. We maybe want to push them a specific email around Amplify, so making it really, really personal. And we can start to stack up more and more emails on top. So I'm trying to think of maybe a use case for you at Pavers or at Direct 365, whether you have any brands that you particularly like to push out.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we do have brands that we'd like to push in our emails and things. So it'd be really nice to put that with. For us, it'd be, I don't know, Sketches.
Cool. Lovely. So yeah, what we could do, for example, is it'll be a case of whether we're picking up our data on your website and whether we have a sort of tag for the products sketches. So essentially all of the sketches shoes, if they have a tag next to them with sketches, we'll be able to sort of map this in with the brand and then have a brand specific email for sketches. Really, really nice use case there. Georgia, any use case that you could think of, for example?
I wouldn't say brands, were kind of like categories. So if a category is not doing so well, say like hand dryers or defibrillators, we'd maybe push that. But it wouldn't be brands per se. We'd just say like the hand dryer, and it'd include all the like top hand dryer brands in the email. So it'd be more category specific than brand.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, a really, really good one there would be with the defibrillators. Obviously, it's sort of a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe putting some messaging there around, make sure you remember to save a life or something along those lines.
Yeah.
You know, can be really, really powerful there on that email to try and get that conversion through. Yeah, great example. So that's one example of some rules we can put in, but we can also do stuff around the weather. So, for example, if someone is looking at a bit of content, so that's on the smart block side of things. So we can add in weather rules to dictate what content is being shown in the triggered email. So if you have email personalization on top, you can start to personalize that content in there. So, for example, in your triggered emails, you can maybe put in some sunglasses if you sell them, or something along those lines. Or for pavers, for example, do you sell some stuff like sandals, or things like that? And we can start to maybe map those into those emails. So that is sort of triggered emails in a nutshell and everything we can do with them on a cart abandon front. We've also got the option of browse abandon, where it's very much the same kind of a message where we can start to look at the people browsing products and what we'd like to sort of push out to them. So some examples could be maybe sending a one-stage email, just because sometimes maybe people don't want to sort of receive as much email for a browse abandon when they've abandoned a browse. Sort of a cart is a more intentful purchase, sort of more intent to purchase. We do see a lot of potentialities with browse abandon. And we can sort of map in variables such as session counts. So anyone that has, for example, more than 15 session counts, we can maybe send them a more driven browse abandonment campaign with more stages because they've sort of got a lot of intent to purchase. And if we've got less than 15, we maybe send them a different email. Any questions about browse abandon? Any ideas of what people may want to set up?
Oh, all good.
Lovely. And then finally, we got purchase complete. So this is the last option. This one is really for sort of upselling after a purchase. So what you may like to do is when someone's bought a product, maybe there's a product that goes like really nicely with it. What we can do is we can start to upsell products. So after a purchase is made, maybe a week after the purchase is made, we can put in an email and we can add a recommendation smart lock at the bottom for similar products. So that's a really, really simple use case there. Has anyone sort of looked into doing purchase complete within their trigger campaigns?
No, not too much for me at the minute. I think I'll probably get into that soon. So it's just good to have a look at it now, see how it works.
Cool. It all works in exactly the same way. So I'm going to just drag everything out of here. Everything in the interface is simple drag and drops. Anything you don't want in there, you can drag out just like so. There we go. And what we can maybe do is we can add in a trigger program. So for example, we can add in, we've got a few options here. It's the same when you go ahead and create the trigger program. We can maybe do something around UV goggles. So we got this little post-purchase email that's been pre-set up. But what you may like to do is sort of add in a recommendation smart block. And we can use a data source such as similar products to the race signal. And essentially what that will do is we'll map in similar products to that purchase that was just made. There are still 35 minutes sort of blasted through that. Whether there's any sort of more complex use cases anyone wants to sort of cover in the session, more than happy to. Everyone sort of understanding the concepts of triggers, everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all good at the minute. Cheers.
Yeah, no questions. It's always a case of sometimes the sessions will already overrun and I'm sort of stuck for time, or in the situation where everyone gets it, everyone's an A-star student, and it's a case of I'm trying to find stuff to do for 33 minutes. I mean, I'm happy to give time back, but if anyone's got any questions, sort of feel free to give me a shout.
Personally, I think I just want to get familiar with the platform.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable like what we can do. I think it's just going to be a bit more diving into it.
Cool. Anything you wanted to cover in particular, or do you want to?
There's nothing really from my side because we had a call today, Kevin, didn't we, with our account manager, and she covered quite a bit that we needed. So I think for now we're actually quite good.
Nice. Yeah. Lovely. Georgia, anything you wanted to cover?
Not specifically. I mean, we've never actually done the purchase complete triggers. So that's probably something that we'll do. because we kind of I don't think we do anything once purchased, but a few of our products, like the defibrillators, have a use by date for the pads. So I don't know, maybe triggers to say that, oh, your pads are kind of running out, maybe get some more.
Perfect example. Yeah, that'd be really, really good there. So how long does it take for them to sort of run out? How long?
I think we have a 2-year lifespan, and then the stickiness starts to wear off, so
Right.
they're not really effective.
Cool. So yeah, what will be a case of doing is after that period, you probably want to map in there, working out how long 2 years is in minutes, and then it'll automatically send that out. It can be a bit of maths to do, but yeah, really, really good example there of an upsell that can work quite effectively. Purchase complete is also a great chance for you to get some ratings and reviews, for example. So any products that you want to maybe get some reviews on, send out a post-purchase email, say, how did you find it? Do you want to leave us a review? And things like that, and it can be really, really effective. But I'm sort of happy to sort of go through anything anyone wants to cover. If there isn't anything else, then I'm sure that with busy days, people would love to get half an hour back.
No, all covered from our side, Will. For me personally, I don't know about anyone else.
Lovely, Kevin.
Yeah, it's all good for me. I'm just still kind of like getting into this sort of thing in a minute, so it's just good to know like what we can do. I think I'll probably end up speaking to the email team about some stuff of like triggers and like what we do and what we're not doing and what we currently are looking at doing. So I'll probably just be in touch after then, just
Feel
to see
free.
like, you know, with some different examples and stuff, just if anything that we want to go through. So yeah, it's all good on my side at the minute. Cheers, Will.
Lovely, no worries at all. And Georgia?
Nothing from my side, no.
Wicked. Well, thank you so much for coming, everyone. Glad we managed to get everything covered, and glad we can get some time back for you all as well. Thanks for coming. I'll sort of be in touch
Cheers, man.
hopefully by the end of today.